It's one of the oldest racetracks and certainly one of the most famous racetracks still standing in the racing world today. It's also home to one of the longest race facilities in the world. But today, we do not go on a countryside journey through the Eiffel forests. Today, we go blasting around the 3.2-mile track. That is the Grand-Prix circuit of the Nurburgring. Hello and welcome to Germany, and Happy New Year one and all, and welcome to RaceSpotTV's Friday Night Primetime here for round number 3 of the Formula Dallara IR Series. My name is Nolan Rempel. I'm joined by Ryan Walker today with Connery Maddock downstairs in the producer's chair for today's presentation. Ryan, this is such a fun circuit to drive with certainly lots of challenges. Turn 1 certainly going to be a big one on the opening laps here today for a lot of these drivers. I know what we're all hoping here for, though. We're hoping that one of the first races of the new year will help us kick off this new year of 2021 on a high.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my favourite tracks in the service, and also this new car was recently released as well is slowly becoming one of my favourites, and I think today should be a great race with such a good turnout.
It is going to be a very good turnout indeed. There was only 20 drivers in the last race at Silverstone. Well, there's 26 in the field today. We got drivers returning like Martin van Luzenoord, Victor Prado also going to be among them. So once again, very big hitters in the field today. You got drivers like Anthony Cat, Javier Soto that are also making returns. So no doubt this is going to be one heck of a race to behold. I mean, the Nürburgring is such a unique circuit. It's such a challenging circuit. Of course, it's home to the 24 hours of the Nürburgring. Like we said, though, not driving around the Nordschleife today, although I do want to... I'm probably going to go and do that now after this race. That does sound like it might be quite an entertaining way to spend the rest of the Friday evening after we finish things off here. We're in the middle of qualifying now. Luzenoord, for now, has the pole.
Yeah, Martin van Luzenoord has pretty much been the man on form at the moment. He took the win at Silverstone last week, and at the moment he's continuing that good form up in qualifying. He's currently sitting on pole position.
He's just throwing his way now through the final set of turns, and he is on his second qualifying lap. His first lap was 1:27.492. Will he be able to improve and extend his lead over the field today? And it does not look like he will, but he gets beaten out by Victor Prado in the number 3 machine with a 1:27.362. So the top two right now separated by just 0.2 of a second. And then it's almost half a second back from there to the rest of the field, started off by Xavier Ross. So I was saying, it's still a very tight field, and no doubt with how these cars run and how we've seen them perform at both Suzuka and at Silverstone, should be in for a very good running today.
Yep, absolutely. As they ride on board with Benoit Duma at the moment, they're currently in 14th at the moment and just heading up through the Schumacher S's. And like I was saying, Nolan, this car is becoming one of my favourites, and it just has a bit of everything. It's got a bit of futuristic stuff on it, and also a bit of retro stuff on it, if you like, as well. So it's got a bit of a mixture, if you like.
Certainly is a mix that a lot of people clearly love. So far, I believe for the first time all season, every driver in the field has set times in qualifying. Haven't seen that all season yet. Oh, and Dumas still goes for a little bit of a spin out of the final chicane, once again proving the challenges of not just the car, but of the track as well. Just about 2 minutes remaining in qualifying now. Let's take a look up to Alex Saunders, who's currently sitting 4th with 1:27.867. He's now on his second lap, coming up to this last chicane here, just before the final 180 curve that heads us back around onto the pit straight. Turn 1 is going to be such a massive challenge because you are turning just a little bit while you're braking. You are also on a tiny width of a track, not to mention it's a downhill braking zone as well. And how the brakes work with these cars, no doubt, we probably will not be seeing everybody making it through clean like we saw at Silverstone last week. No lap time set on the second one. Must have had an off track somewhere along the way.
Yeah, turn 1, I think. Turn 1, don't... but apparently some people are setting their times on medium, so with regards to the tyre strategy, it looks like some people are maybe trying to play the long game before making a pit stop.
One of the drivers that set a time on the medium tires was actually Alex Saunders, your current 4th place sitter, so that just shows how evenly matched the medium tires and the soft tires can be. Other drivers that are on softs right now for Danilo Sanfilippo. You have Marco Sanfilippo also on the medium compounds. Then you had Anthony Cat, who was on the mediums, and Benoit Dumas, who was also on the mediums. Everybody else appears to be on the soft compound for now as we watch the number 12 machine just cross the line. That's Thomas Bartoszek, and he is going to get himself kind of settled in there in the 17th position, kind of in the back portion of the midfield runners. I believe this is Alex Saunders, who at this point is just kind of out here on some extra practice laps.
Yep, so it looks like just under 30 seconds remaining in qualifying, like you say, Nolan, that some people are using the extra track time as practice, as Saunders, it looks like he's coming into the pits now.
May as well use that extra lap to get a good old pit entry. You do have to make one mandatory pit stop in these races, as we've said time and time again, so may as well use the extra lap that you have the time for to get a bit of a practice pit stop in. Well, it looks like we are going to be wrapping up qualifying here in just a few seconds. Checkered flag is going to fly on the session right about now. So, let's take things on down to the starting grid. It's Victor Prado started on the pole with Martin van Luzenoord sitting down there on the second position on the front row. Row 2 lines up with Xavier Ross and Alex Saunders. Ben Fuller rounds out the top 5 with Marco Sanfilippo in the 6th position. Javier Soto in 7th and Matteo Calistani in the 8th position. Manuel Domingo in 9th. Hayata Asaga rounds out the top 10. Then comes Rudger Hegman in the 11th position. Martinez Forner in the 12th position. Giuseppe Ragusa in the 13th position. Anthony Cat in 14th. Benoit Dumas in 15th. Danilo Sanfilippo in the 16th position. Thomas Bartoszek in 17th, Steve Gayuri in 18th, Jacob Swiderski in 19th. Rounded out the top 20 is going to be Tanner McCullough, Thomas Wick in 21st, Julian Klein-Buznek in 22nd, Pablo Suarez in 23rd, Dennis Scholing in 24th, Vincent Van Geffen in 25th, and Sander Dignam rounds out the 26-car field 2 seconds off the 25th place driver, and a good 5 seconds off of the race leader. So it seems like Sander Dignam might be ready for a race to just kind of hang around in the back. Very, very tight, though, as the top 4 separated by just half a second.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, everyone looks like, apart from one car, just waiting for another car to grad up, and they should be underway in a few seconds' time as the pole sitter just jumps onto the grid now. And you have to say, Nolan, I'm looking forward to this race, and don't be surprised if you see some little incidents in turn 1, especially with such a big field and maybe a bottleneck effect.
It's a bit of a tightening width of the track all the way down to the braking zone at turn 1. Not to mention you are turning a little bit, it's downhill. It's going to be very interesting. No doubt we're going to be set to see a couple cars run just a little bit wide in the run up to turn number 2. Just got to be careful that they don't run too wide, so as they might get that good old slowdown penalty that plagues drivers everywhere, especially at tracks like this where it is just so easy to run wide. Through the final chicane they go. The Porsche 911 GT3 Cup pace car going to lead them off into the pit road it goes. It's in the hands now of Victor Prado, your pole sitter. Martin van Luzenoord, can he get away with the lead on the start of this race? Off of the final corner now. Prado continues to hold the field. Oh, big chugga behind. Green flag racing. One car's already in the wall. That's Manuel Domingo. That's crashed out of the race before it even begins. He stopped driver's left as the field thunders down to the turn number 1. And so far, oh my goodness me! What the heck was that?
That was Calistani.
What in the... I am at a loss for words. Talk about Calistani not knowing where the brake pedal was, just ran over Ben Fuller, taking him and multiple cars out of the race.
Well, I thought there was going to be issues in turn 1, but there was issues before even getting over the start line, and even before turn 1. So yeah, I'd love to see a replay of that, and it just all seemed to kick off like halfway down the home straight.
They continued to crash all the way until the leaders were just about out of turn number 4. Taking a look at the replay now. Manuel Domingo, there was a big check because they expected Prado to be going off at the final corner, but he never went. He checked the field up here. So watch this as Domingo's going to get nose into the wall there by that orange car there you saw just in the middle of the field. And now where's Calistani going to come in on all this? He's going to really give a big shunt to somebody just behind him, I believe. Right there. There you see. Oh, my word. That has got to be one of the biggest wrecks we've seen all season, and that tags four cars out before turn 1 even ends, and was Ben Fuller, the driver that he sent, and that took out Luzinord, it took out Calistani, it took out Domingo, all 4 cars pretty much out of the race. Everybody else looks to have continued, but there are a lot of machines with damage, and they continue to crash into each other, and there is more trouble actually in the top end of the final chicane among some cars that have wrecked. There's still going to take one more look at this before you look at the incident that happened just moments ago in the final chicane, but take a ride on board here with Ben Fuller. It was Thomas Wick, one of the machines that got collected in the incident with the chicane. There you see the hard hit into the tires for Ben Fuller, ending his day.
Yeah, that was just so unfortunate, and I don't know if that was just people being overeager or just being too eager to try and gain track position straight away. But unfortunately, as Thomas Wick's having more issues by the looks of it into the turn 14 and 15 chicane, and he just loops it around.
Multiple cars going around again, so that's another, oh my goodness me, so that's another 4-car incident there in the final chicane. That all happened in the span of just 1 lap. So we had multiple cars down in pit road, at least 7 of the 26 down to the pits, and now everybody is pretty much split up all the way around the racetrack. Victor Prado has checked out. He somehow did not get collected in any of that. The first real battle we got going on is all the way back for 5th and 6th between Mark Martinez-Forner and Rutger Hegman right now, trying to do battle for the final position within the top 5. They're just now at the final chicane at the end of lap number 2. That is, I'm terribly sorry, but that is one of the clumsiest starts to a race I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I've got to agree. It looks like the sort of start you would see in a rookie MX-5 race, that's for sure.
No doubt a lot of drivers are not going to be terribly happy about this one. Down into the brakes we go for lap number 3 of 39. Still a very long way to go. It looks like one machine ran just a tad bit wide on the exit of turn 1, but managed to kind of keep things calm and collected. So 5th and 6th running about half a second apart right now. There is live timing available, by the way, at RaceSpot.tv/timing2, where you can take a look at all your favorite drivers if they're not on camera, provided they're still in the race after the carnage we just witnessed.
Yeah, and pretty much Victor Prado has just checked, like you say, he's checked out at the moment, and he's got about a 3.2 second lead. But looking further back in the field, we've got this battle with Anthony Catt and Giuseppe Ragusa. At the moment, it's still really close, and yeah, at the front anyway, it seems to have spread out after the incident, but it's still really close in the midfield.
Very close in the midfield, kind of 5th on back, all the way to about the 9th position are still battling really close together. So this is we still might get some action here before things really start to die on down kind of in the mid portion of the race. So 5th and 6th seem to be pulling away. You can see the 2 cars just up the road there headed towards the final chicane now. Anthony Catt goes a little bit defensive. Giuseppe Ragusa not close enough to make the move for the position. Might get it here, though, off the final chicane. Remember, Ragusa is on soft tires. Anthony Catt is on the mediums. So Ragusa does have a small bit of a performance advantage here on those fresh soft tires.
Yeah, so it looks like Anthony Catt might be trying to go for a long stint and with those medium tires. And oh, someone's making a lunge into turn 1.
That was Sanfilippo. Danilo Sanfilippo tried to have a look around Giuseppe Ragusa down at the turn number 1, almost made contact, did not quite get close enough to make the move successful, but hey, a look is certainly a look. Take a look at this one from the air now. There's the big look to the inside, and just barely got cut off by Giuseppe Ragusa. Now, obviously, Sanfilippo probably would have had to back out there anyway. Was nowhere close to having an unreasonable line into turn number 1. It most certainly would have ended the contact if he did get alongside, but he did manage to back it down just in time that he didn't run over the car in front of him.
Yeah, managed to get the car stopped, and looking at 5th place man at the moment, Mark Martinez-Forner at the moment, and he's got a bit of a train starting to form behind him, and yeah, he's been pretty much one of the people that's benefited from the incident in turn 1 and gained a few places, and at the moment they're having a good race.
Down at 7 places. He started down in the 12th position, and he is up to 5th already as a result of all that carnage, which he probably saw it all take place just ahead of him, as a matter of fact. Another driver that's having a really good run so far is Hayata Asaga, who started in 10th, and he's up to 3rd So a lot of drivers that you would typically see fighting for positions just outside the top 10, they're now up and right in the mix trying to fight for positions in the top 5 because of all the carnage that we saw take place. That is just absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty much shaking up the order and threw a shock in the works. And at the moment, you've got, again, we're looking at this battle with Anthony Cat and Giuseppe Ragusa. And Anthony Cat is formerly or normally known for racing in the Skip Barber series in the Monday Night Skippies, or it has done in the past. But at the moment, he's having a good race in this Dallara.
Having a good race indeed. So really 5th on back to about the 9th or 10th position are the only cars that are actually close right now on the track. Everybody else is 100% just spread out all the way around. In fact, we got all the way back up to the 20th position. Then 20th on back are in pit road right now, either getting damage fixed or just out of the race entirely. Right on board here with Danilo Sanfilippo in that number 9 car, running to the 9th position, trying to see if he can run down Giuseppe Ragusa, who is still close to Anthony Cat. Right now, Ragusa really needs to maximize on the exits of these corners in order for him to try to run down that number 16 machine and maybe get a pass done. He's just losing a bit of time, though, through the mid-corner, looks like, because he tends to take a bit of a wider exit, which hurts him when the corners cut back on themselves.
Yeah, I think his best opportunity is probably on the exit of the final corner onto the home straight, and if he can get a good exit. And yeah, seems to get a good entry, but on the exit, he seems to just be slightly compromised.
Here we go. We might have a look here into turn number 1. Ragusa's definitely close. Anthony Cat might have to go defensive. Ragusa tries to pick a line. Here we go. He might try to cut back on him here as Anthony Cat runs a tad bit wide on the medium tires. Ragusa's still trying to get him here with these soft tires. Can he get him into turn 3? Not quite. Still not close enough. Of course, the Mercedes Arena section is definitely someplace where you don't typically see passing opportunities being brought up or taken whatsoever. It really is kind of a single file position here. Might have to try to make something into the hairpin if he can get him on the run here down towards that Dunlop hairpin down there.
Yeah, I think another possible opportunity or possible corner he could make a move is brought into that turn 14 and 15 chicane if he gets a great run or a good exit heading onto that long stretch heading up to it. And at the moment, just doesn't seem to be close enough.
No doubt this will be hurting Giuseppe Ragusa's tires as well, because remember, he's on the soft. So while these tires do have the performance advantage, they will not last as long as Anthony Cat's medium. So if Cat can just play the waiting game here and play his cards nice and patiently and doesn't push him too hard, he will be able to outrun Ragusa when Ragusa's tires really start to wear in. And soon, that number 8 car might have to start worrying about drivers like Danilo Sanfilippo and Benoit Dumas just behind him. Here we go, though, once again, onto the front straightaway. Now Cat goes to the middle of the track here. We ride on board with Anthony Cat, watching as Ragusa looks to the right, now to the left, trying to take it around the outside. Not close enough on the brakes, but they're getting ever closer just every lap.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at the moment, Giuseppe needs to... He's trying everything to try and get by, because I think even he knows that his tyres will probably drop off at some point. And his Cat gets out of the sideways but manages to hold it.
Big sideways moment there for Anthony Cat. No doubt a heart stopper, because we've seen at places like Suzuka and at Silverstone, when these cars start to snap around, it is almost impossible to save them. Just goes to show what good driver Anthony Cat can be, as Ragusa still trying to close him in. Danilo Sanfilippo has also reeled in Giuseppe Ragusa, so at this point in time, Anthony Cat seems to be holding up the entire train behind him here, but they just can't get by him because they just cannot get close enough through the dirty air. I think that's what's really hurting them here, is the dirty air through some of these faster corners like the Schumacher S that's prevented them from trying to get close, though they do reel him in a fair bit down these straightaways. But look at how close now Sanfilippo is to Ragusa. Ragusa might have to start worrying about defense here in a minute.
Yep, absolutely. And this 4-part battle going on at the moment still, and it's Cat is still really under pressure. But I think Anthony Cat, he might just be kind of just playing it sensible, just not pushing too much and just looking after the tyres, just to try and look after him as much as possible. And Giuseppe, he just peeks out from behind to show he's there, but he's not going to do anything too silly, as again he just peeks out slightly but can't really do anything because he's not close enough.
Oh, Benoit Dumas sacrifices a lot of time there, runs super wide out of turn number 1. You saw that just at the bottom left of the screens there. as we went through turn 1, how far wide he ran out. That has cost him a good half a second at least. We're riding on board with Dumas now, who just seemed to brake a little bit too late, and you are never going to make the corner from there, my friend.
Yep, so he just basically decided to play it sensible, and he knew he was locking the front right up, so he just let it run wide slightly instead of fighting the car and maybe possibly spinning. But at the moment, he's still in contact with it, or keeping in touch with this battle at the moment, but he slightly lost time.
You see on the left side of the screen, first all the way back to about the 18th position, you can already see your race leader, Victor Pareto, is lapped up to the 16th place machine, and that is a result of all the carnage we saw in the first 2 or so laps of the race, especially after the calamity we saw on lap 1 that saw Manuel Domingo out of the race before it even began. I mean, that was like we said earlier, it was definitely a very, very clumsy start all the way throughout the order, but still got a couple good battles going on here, so certainly do not go away. The action is nowhere close to dying off just yet. Now we're about 0.3 of a second, give or take, off between Anthony Cat and Giuseppe Ragusa. These two drivers have been trying to go at it the entire race so far since lap 1. Ragusa once again tries to find the outside as Anthony Cat cuts to the inside. Ragusa trying to get the over-under, but just cannot get on the power enough. Still trying to look around the outside for turn 2. Here he comes. He actually might get him here. Round the outside into turn 3 as we look on board from the helicopter. Not quite able to get the move there, and Anthony Cat just barely ekes ahead.
Yeah, he's quicker than Anthony Cat, there's no doubt about it, but it's just trying to make a move, that's the issue. And yeah, Anthony Cat just seems to be getting a great exit on every corner, and that's keeping him in front at the moment.
The little things that matter, and right now Anthony Cat is definitely maximizing these little things to the fullest of their potential, trying to make sure he gets the most out of every last corner, every last apex. I think where Anthony Cat is strongest is in turn 6 and 7, the kind of the forward curves there, because that is where Giuseppe Ragusa kind of compromised his line, because he runs out wide, which means he is completely compromised in the run down to Dunlop at turn 8, and that is where Anthony Cat is able to pull so much time ahead, just enough so that the dirty air kicks in when we get around to turn 9, which is the Schumacher S. Now Danilo Sanfilippo trying to have a look as Giuseppe Ragusa really sent it in that time.
Yeah, Ragusa is just trying everything. He's closer to Anthony Cat this time around, but I don't know if he's going to be close enough to make a move, and he's not close enough by the looks of it.
Still not close enough. I mean, surely he's got to try something different here. I mean, you can't there comes a point where you got to realize you can't just keep throwing yourself into every corner and make it work. You might have to try to adjust that line a little bit, see if you can maybe follow Anthony Cat's line just a little bit more to try to get right into the slipstream through some of the shorter straights as well. What did Ragusa do? I mean, he still has Danilo Sanfilippo, who is no doubt going to be ready to pounce on any little mistake he makes.
Yes, and I think if I was Giuseppe, I would maybe just stop trying to make a move at every chance you get. I think maybe just back off slightly and look after the tyres, but that's easier said than done, especially when you've got Sanfilippo and Dumas behind you as well.
You might be wondering why we're not really focusing anywhere else in the field, and well, to put it quite simply, the answer is there aren't any other battles in the field. This is the closest group of cars that we have all the way throughout the field. Really 7th on back to the 10th place car. I mean, 6th and 5th have both kind of gotten themselves split up the road. So there's no battles going on up there either. So even this battle is starting to kind of split up a little bit. I mean, Benoit Dumas is just barely hanging on to the tail end of this field after he ran really wide in turn 1 there. So we're really keeping our eyes on Sanfilippo, Ragusa, and Anthony Cat running 7th, 8th, and 9th respectively in the field. Victor Pareto has already pulled over 10 seconds over the entire field as we cross over onto lap 11. That means he is almost a second to lap faster than everybody else in the field. Yeah,
he's pretty much just pulling away and checking out at the moment, and Giuseppe just took a wee sneaky look up the inside into turn 1, maybe trying to intimidate Anthony Cat, but Cat done a great defensive job in turn 1, but I think it's just a matter of time before Anthony Cat loses his position, because at the moment he seems to be the slower driver out of this pack.
He is. It almost does look that way, doesn't it? As if he's slowing up the field by just a little bit. Now, here's something interesting to note here. They are catching up on Vincent van Geffen, which is the 18th place runner, and he is a lap down. So we're going to have lap traffic play into the mix of this. So this might be quite interesting here to see how the field is going to react to the 26 machine that's now just up the road. And no doubt he started to affect Anthony Cat in his own wake of dirty air.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Anthony just he can't afford to catch Vincent in the wrong place, because at the moment he's under huge pressure from the 3 other cars behind him, and I don't think Vincent will make too much of an issue of it, as it looks like Vincent pulling over to let him through.
A good move there on Vincent van Geffen to pull aside and let the field through. You can see how much they were battling, decided to not really interfere all too much. I did see Benoit Dumas run a little bit wide off the final corner again, which is going to cost him even more in the run down to turn number 1, which is, I believe, the second longest straight we have on the racing surface here at the Nurburgring in the Grand-Prix circuit. So this field is starting to split on up just a little bit more. We could potentially see this come down just between Ragusa and Anthony Cap by the time we get to the pit window. I think this is one of those cases, though, where we just kind of hope that it continues through the pit cycle. Let's take a look back, though, at this battle. And it appears we might have had something go down here on the racetrack.
Yeah, it looks like Xavier Ross has gained a position, and they took it from Suarez.
That was through turn 13, which is the very fast right-handed kink down, which kind of splits up what would be the longest straight on the track. And you saw that car did not defend all too much. Saw it was going to come and didn't try to really fight it. And Suarez has since dropped well down from where Xavier Ross is. Ross clearly does have the faster car. Looking back up, though, to this battle here for the 7th position, Anthony Cat still hanging on against Giuseppe Ragusa. Live time it is available at RaceSpot.tv/Tommy2 to check up on all your favorite drivers. If they don't happen to be on screen at the moment, you see it right there. Just type in that link at the bottom right of the screen. That is RaceSpot.tv/Tommy2.
It was Anthony Cat still holding 7th position, and it's interesting as well, Nolan. I wonder if these 3 other cars behind might try and maybe, if they can't get by Anthony Cat on track, I wonder if they'll maybe pit early and try and get an undercut.
The undercut is obviously going to be a pretty unique strategy. I mean, we've seen it tried at tracks like Suzuka and at Silverstone. I mean, usually the field tends to come down kind of around the halfway point, give or take. Obviously, we'll be seeing the medium tires trying to stretch their stints out just a little bit longer, but a majority of the stints we could start to see come down about at the lap 20 mark or the lap 21 mark. Kind of around there is when their pit window would really open up and we could start to see them come on down. Although at Suzuka, we did see a lot of drivers stretch these stints out as long as they could possibly go. So we could be seeing a bit of that going on here today. It really is a game of chicken when you're in these cars, because the fresh tires can be so powerful. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you're not going to come out in a place that's going to compromise you on your outlap.
Yeah, that's the thing with pitting early as well. You want to make sure you've got clear track behind you, and also clear track when you come out. Otherwise, if you come out behind traffic, it'll just cost you big time, and you'll lose too much time as well.
We've seen this time and time again as well. I mean, heck, we even saw it in the last season of Friday Night Prime Time in the iRacing IMSA Online Sports Car Championship. A lot of times, cars would come out right into the midst of traffic, and they would end up losing up to 2-3 seconds as a result of that. So we got to hope that maybe these guys can manage to stay close to the pit window. Heck, we could see a case of multiple drivers in this battle coming down at the same time. Who's to say they're not all going to come down on the same lap, in which case it comes down to battle of the pit crews. We've also seen that this season, where 2 drivers have come in nose to tail, and they've exited completely in the reverse order from when they came down.
Yeah, so yeah, don't be surprised if you see that here as well, especially with this battle. And I think Anthony Cat, anyway, with him being on the medium tyres, I think he'll try and go as long as possible. But I think if he sees Giuseppe and Sanfilippo behind him as well, pit for him, I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Cat hits 1 lap later to try and cover them.
Oh, 1 car up in front of these guys. Oh my goodness me!
Whoa.
That was Mark Martinez, foreigner, one of the drivers that was collected in the first incident. He was in 6th place. That was your 6th place runner. That just took himself out there. So all of a sudden, complete chaos has disrupted the battle for 7th place in the running order. Take a look at this. Just lost it on his own, and the AstroTurf slides up, and holy cow! Giuseppe Ragusa with the decisive move into the grass. Check that it was Anthony Cat that went into the grass to avoid him. Oh my goodness, and Anthony Cat is also out of the race because he wrecked hard into the barriers as a result.
Yeah, it was just so unfortunate for Cat. I think he was kind of he didn't know where to go, and he went to the grass. But the only problem with the grass is if you try and keep it flat on the grass, it's a bit like ice that you basically just you'll spin out and hit the wall.
That is definitely going to be a race killer for Anthony Cat. He is not going to be able to get that car back onto the racing surface in the slightest. Take a look on board for Danilo Sanfilippo, who is now inherited the 7th position, seeing all this carnage just in front of him. Oh my goodness. That is a monstrous impact there for Anthony Cat, and definitely not at all what he wanted to see, and that is going to split that battle up in a hurry. Oh dear. So all of a sudden, Benoit Dumas is going to be trying to see if he can maybe find his way up back and try to fight with Danilo Sanfilippo, but I have a feeling that at this point, Benoit Dumas is not going to have a very easy time getting on up there, seeing as Sanfilippo was just barely clinging on to the slipstream of Giuseppe Ragusa.
Yeah, just after that mistake into turn 1 where Dumas just locked up, he just lost too much time and he lost touch with Ragusa and Sanfilippo. So unfortunately, it's just a 2-car battle now by the looks of it for 6th place. So it's apart from that, the field's pretty much spread out now. But that was so unfortunate for Anthony Cat because he was having such a great race.
He was putting on such a good defense as well. I mean, he was making sure to really keep Ragusa behind him at every possible moment, was not letting him find even the slightest door open. And even when it was, he fended them off nicely. I mean, the closest they ever got was when they went side by side into turn 3 with Ragusa trying to take it around the outside, but just wasn't close enough to get the move done. So it was a fantastic drive for Anthony Cat. He was no doubt getting set for a 6th place finish. Unfortunately, he is going to be having to watch the rest of this race from the sidelines.
Yep, and yeah, I don't know what if Anthony Cat just got scared. It's one of those moments. There's a car in the middle of the track, and you don't know what way to go. And unfortunately, the way Anthony Cat went, he went onto the grass, and it just basically bit him hard and spat him into the wall.
Well, seeing as there's not a whole lot going on right now, why don't we take a look up and let's actually go up and watch the 4th place driver, Javier Soto. We'll take a ride on board with him as he's trying to close in a 4-second gap up to Hayata Asaga. Let's go on board for RaceSpot.tv fan immersion. while we were watching this on board with Javier Soto, it seems that Rutger Hegman has put the power down. He's now trying to run down Javier Soto, as they've now moved up into the 4th and 3rd position. Hayata Asaga has just come down to pit road, so the pit window starting to open up for the drivers on the soft tire compounds. He's going to go into the mediums here from here to the end. So the red ringed softs go to the yellow ringed mediums. So got to switch a position there for the tire compounds. And it appears as though we could have a battle here for what is currently net P4 on the racetrack brewing between Hegman and Soto.
Yeah, so I think I wonder if Asaga was struggling with the softs slightly and just decided to go with the mediums and just make sure you can get to the finish from here. But yeah, that was an interesting tyre choice. But yeah, it looks like we've got that battle going on at the moment. And yeah, pretty much it's still Victor Prater leading, but he's basically just checked out. And at the moment it's Javier Soto currently under attack from Rutger Hegman.
Hegman's kind of dropped back a little bit. He's right now about 0.8 of a second apart from these two, or from his opponent just up the road. Softs to mediums is a bit of an interesting one, isn't it? Because usually the prominent choice for all drivers in the field has been soft to soft, although some drivers have started on the hard tires and gone hards to soft, some drivers have gone soft to soft, but it really hasn't been, you know, anything particularly spectacular when it comes to the tire strategy. It really just has been soft to soft, so this could be interesting. And since we have had one car that have gone off, that's Steve Gayuri, I believe, in the number 21 machine, and he has had an off, I believe, at turn 4 this is. That's a big off there.
Yeah, I wonder if he just missed his braking point slightly, or just carried too much corner entry speed. So we're just about to look at the replay now from his point of view, and it looks like he brakes and he carried well too much speed.
I think a bit too much speed is a bit of an understatement there, Ryan. I mean, holy cow. He almost hit the tire barriers there in the run down to where the track switches back. Very lucky there. They actually managed to keep that out of the barriers in the process. And hey, no harm, no foul. Might have a bit of damage on the floor, though, that I might have to be concerned about. Hopefully, whatever it is will not impede him all too much. Another two cars that are looking a bit close here, apart from this battle for third, which is still going on. You can see them kind of just in the middle of the timing charts right there is, well, it's actually 10th and 11th place right now. And it appears that that's actually changed as Sander Dignam has just come in for a pit stop here.
Yep, so yeah, Dignam's just made a pit stop and he's just about to leave the pits now. And yeah, it looks like he's one of the drivers to go with soft tyres for his pit stop, so it looks like he'll be taking them to the end. But yeah, this is what I like about the Cincinnati iRacing update as well, Nolan. It's now you've got choices on tyre compounds, so it mixes it up a little bit.
If you can ride soft tires to the halfway point, you may as well ride hot soft tires all the way to the end. No point in switching to a compound that will last you longer if you're at the halfway point already on the compound that lasts you the shortest. 10th and 11th are mighty close, just a couple tenths of a second apart. Xavier Ross and Alex Saunders going at it right now. They were battling for 10th and 11th before Dignam came in for his pit stop, so likely that's where they're going to cycle back out. But they were quite literally about to run each other over just a few corners ago. Alex Saunders now still trying to see if he can maybe close up the gap to Xavier Ross, who's going to go down to pit road just ahead of him. So this battle going to the pits.
Yep, so... Xavier's hit the pit wall.
That is going to be big damage there for Xavier Ross on the front wing. Will no doubt impact him aerodynamically. Might have suspension damage too. He's going to have to spend a long time in the pit, so all of a sudden... Mark Alexander's the winner on that battle there, as all of a sudden that battle is going to be over with. There you see it right there. I hit the wall a couple times actually on the entry.
Yeah, it's just I was watching as well that curve on the pit entry as well next to the wall. I think he just tried to put the power down and just lost traction.
Oh yeah, yikes! It doesn't look big, but in these cars, something like that could be race killing for that machine. I mean, he is still in the pits. Victor Prado has come down. Meanwhile, the overall race leader, he's out of the pits. Javier Soto is also in the pits, which is going to promote Rutger Hegman, who did stay out. So Hegman is going to try to stretch this one out more and maybe get the overcut here. See if he can get a bit of time in the clean air and then come on in to pit. So it seems like we're going to be seeing quite a bit of the lead lap drivers coming on down here in the next lap or so.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, just I watched Victor Prato's pit stop as well, and he went with another set of soft tyres. So yeah, he's going softs, and other drivers maybe interesting that they're going with different choices. But looking at the second place man, Rutger Hegman as well, he's trying to stretch out as long as possible and just maybe try and hold off the pit stop as long as possible.
This is going to be very interesting.
Sorry to interrupt Nolan, but Victor Prato just went off the track.
Oh, hello here. Yeah, you're right. That is Victor Prato, the race leader. He's down to second place now, Victor Prato. So I believe Marco Sanfilippo might be in the race lead as of now. Hegman might be leading the race right now. So let's take a look at this one. So Rutger Hegman is leading. Sorry, that is a big snap of oversteer there for Victor Prato. That is going to send him tumbling out of the race lead. Just what we were saying, this race might be petering off here a little bit.
Yeah, as Hegman's into the pit lane as well, and Prato didn't hit the wall. Amazingly, that's I bet he had the heart palpitations there.
Hegman is into the pits, so is Giuseppe Ragusa. They're both down into the pits as of right now. So Victor Prato is in the lead. We're going to take an eye up here on Javier Soto, who's just now out of the final corner. So we're going to take a look here. Where's it going to come out in relation to Hegman, the driver he was battling with? This might be pretty darn close here. Javier Soto is going to be just past the start finish line now. Giuseppe Ragusa coming out of the pits. He passes Ragusa. He passes Hegman as well. Javier Soto continues out of the pits. Here comes Hegman trying to cut back on him. Now, though, Javier Soto has caught Pablo Suarez, who was a lap car. Just ahead of him is Hayata Asaga, just up the road as well.
Well, amazingly, Victor Prato, even though he had that off, he's managed to retain the lead.
He's managed to hold on to the lead, but just barely. 5.6 seconds is the gap, so what was about a 15-second gap is now just down to 5.6 seconds. The driver behind him is Danilo Sanfilippo, who's up 14 positions from where he started in the race today. So Victor Prato, I'll tell you what, that was definitely a hard stopper for him. His race almost ended in absolute disaster right there. Good thing he managed to keep that car steady, though, because holy cow, that would have been quite something indeed if that would have been how Victor Prato's race would have won. Would have ended, excuse me.
Yeah, and I believe Danilo Sanfilippo is not pitted yet. And yeah, it's also Benoit Duma up in second as well, who I believe is still got to pit as well, as it looks like Sanfilippo actually is in the pits.
So the first driver that is yet to pit is Marco Sanfilippo, who's running in the third position right now on the track. He will pass Benoit Dumas when Dumas comes into pit. Marco Sanfilippo pit 2 laps ago, so he's going to be picking up the second position, and he is almost 13 seconds back. So Benoit Dumas is the first car on the lead lap that is yet to come down to stop, who's running in the second position right now. 22 laps on those tires right there. So it is, I'll tell you what, a lot of things have just completely kicked off here here at the Nurburgring, the Dallara Formula IR Series. Let's look back, though, to this battle for what is the 5th position on the track at the moment. Javier Soto going at it again with Rutger Hegman. They were right next to each other when they came into the pit box. Now, looks like we're about to get up to round number 2.
Yeah, these guys have been pretty much close together before the pit stop and pretty much, well, most of the race basically. And Soto is doing a good job of staying ahead of Hegman. And yeah, I think not too far in front of these guys as well, actually. Just in sight is Hayata Asaga.
Rutger Hegman is really going to have to try to fight hard here if he wants to catch up to Javier Soto. Both drivers are now on fresh, soft tires, so they both have a bit of a performance advantage. They're both catching Hayata Asaga as well in the field, who should note did pit but 3 laps ago, and Asaga is on the medium compound tire, so not only are the 2 drivers behind him on 3-lap fresh tires, but they're on a better compound set as well. So Hayata Asaga is about to get caught up in a really big battle for position just behind him as Benoit Dumas comes into pit road.
Yep, I'm just keeping an eye on Dumas as well, and it looks like he went with soft tyres as well, so everyone's again, I keep saying it, but it amazes me with the tyre choices that people have made in the pit stop. Some going with medium, some going with soft, so yeah, just making the battles even more interesting.
And who says you can't get good battles if you get a massive turn 1, lap 1 wreck like that? I mean, this is just proving anybody that says that wrong right now, as we've been seeing these battles kind of started to shape up. Yes, it kind of died down a little bit at the start, but with all this pit stop shuffling, it is really kind of ramped up a notch. I mean, this is now not just a heads of battle to the end. I mean, it's a battle of minds right now as well, you got to keep in mind. As Javier Soto is still trying to run down the driver of Hayata Saga just up the road from him. You can see him in his sights, but just kind of a speck on the horizon right now in comparison to where Rutger Hegman has got Javier Soto lined up right now.
Yep, and I think it's just a matter of time before these two guys, Soto and Hegman, catch up to Hasaga, and I think it's not too long before they get by either, I think.
Giuseppe Ragusa isn't too far behind these guys either. He's actually that white card that you saw just at the very tail end of the train there. So he's not too far back from these two drivers as well. So we could see Ragusa again make up another position or two if they can keep the pedal down and continue to reel in these two drivers, because he's been consistently faster than them the past couple laps since the pit window. In fact, he just had a 129, while both other drivers are in the 130s.
Yep, so yeah, the lap time difference is pretty much a second by the looks of it, and yeah, Saga's actually doing a good job to stay in front of these guys. But what will he do when he gets put under Hughes press? Will he try and go ultra defensive, or maybe just decide it's not worth fighting these guys, and maybe just try and finish in the top 4 or top 5?
Whatever it's going to end up being, it's certainly going to be something to behold. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on this fight for sure. Right now, this is, again, one of the only battles we got on the track right now for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and about to be 6th place. So that's 4 spots there that are potentially up for grabs here among these 4 drivers who have been running really close ever since the early portions of the race, and have continued to be close even afterwards.
Yep, as they head down on the run to the chicane, and yep, there you go. That's this battle's getting closer and closer, and Soto's closing down on the Saga, and Hegman's putting Soto under Hughes pressure as well. So it's a bit of a swings and roundabouts battle at the moment, and there you go in the background as well is Giuseppe Ragusa as well, just catching this battle as well.
It's probably one of those battles where we just see it kind of get closer and closer and closer, and then we see it all explode in the final 5 or so laps of the race. We are 14 laps to go the last time by at the line, so we are well over the halfway point at this time, and we're definitely closing in on the final quarter of the race as well. So I think these drivers are going to try to play their cards patiently, try to get themselves into the final quarter of the race, and then we're going to see everything kick off, unless, of course, Javier Soto starts to get held up by Hayata Saga. He's got to keep that in mind as well, because there again comes a point when you end up realizing you're losing too much time sitting behind the guy in front of you than you would have if you were to just pass him 5 laps prior.
There's a rider on board with Soto as well, and yeah, there you can see up ahead is a Saga, and yeah, I think if you're Soto, I wouldn't go for it straight away. You kind of just got to plan it with that gap in front of him, just plan what you're going to do, or do you go for the move straight away if you get the run, or do you maybe just try and stay behind and play some mind games, if you like, and just try and unsettle a Saga a little bit.
I think what Rutger Hegman might try to do here is he's just behind Javier Soto, the driver we're riding on board with right now. I think he might try to see if he can maybe start making a couple of looks out of Javier Soto, kind of maybe start to pressure him, show that he is still very much there, and he's going to be ready to make a move at the slightest mistake that Javier Soto makes, because every time Javier Soto misses an apex by just the smallest of margins, that is that much more that Rutger Hegman is able to close in, because that number 23 machine has really been hitting his marks all day long. So has Giuseppe Ragusa, who's still trying to see if he can pick up some extra spots and secure himself a top 5 finish coming into the finish of today's race as well. Javier Soto, he is right now trying to go for a podium position here, because we're running 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. I mean, remember these guys? We thought they might be fighting for like positions just inside or just outside the top 10. How about a podium position? I mean, I'm pretty sure Javier Soto would be very much happy with that one.
Yeah, I think he'd be happy with a podium finish as well, considering the strong competition it's been in this race, but unfortunately got took out in the turn 1 melee, if you like. And so it's mixed up this race a little bit, and yeah, as you see at the moment, you've got people that you wouldn't normally see up at the front challenging, up there challenging for podium positions.
Saga is up 7 positions from where he started today. He started all the way down to the 10th position. Soto's up 3. Rutger's up 6. Giuseppe Ragusa's also up 7. The driver that has climbed the most, though, is still Standard Dignam, who's running at the 12th position, 1 lap down, but he's up 14 from where he started today. And no doubt a lot of that is as a result of major attrition, especially in the opening 2 laps. But still, you got to keep your nose clean if you want to make up those spots. So still, very well, good job done for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you might not be quicker up at the front as much as you normally are, but if you keep your nose clean, especially around a track such as this one, and especially turn 1, you can gain heaps of positions. And Asaga's having a good race at the moment, but he's only about 6/10 ahead of Javier Soto heading into turn 1. So this battle's about, I think, anyways, about to spice up.
It looks like we're starting to get a bit of 2 different battles forming up here. We got one for 4th and 3rd between Hayata Asaga and Javier Soto, and then we got one between Rutger Hegman and Giuseppe Ragusa. I think that's kind of what we're seeing right here, because there's a small gap now between Javier Soto and Rutger Hegman that started to form between these 2 drivers. So Soto, no doubt, is going to be pushing really hard to try to get the maximum out of his car to see if he can try to run down that final podium position. Obviously will not be able to go for second because they're both 15 seconds up the road. Sanfilippo's 15 seconds up the road from Asaga, and Prato's 15 seconds up the road from Sanfilippo. So not going to be able to go for a race win by any stretch of the means, or even a second position, provided the 2 of them don't wreck out. We've seen Pareto almost made that mistake earlier today, just after the pit cycle closed. But I mean, it comes to the point again where you got to maybe think of, what do you do to get that final position and go for whatever spots you could possibly get? Tanner McCullough is in pit road. Bit of an interesting call for him in the number 13 machine.
Yeah, so it looks like Tanner's basically just tried to go as long as possible, and he made his pit stop now on lap 28, or at the end of lap 27, rather. But yeah, Tanner's... he started in P20 up into 10th place. He's gained 10 positions, so he had a great run from Tanner as well.
He was one of those drivers that was looking to go mediums onto softs, and it seems like that is exactly what he has done. So medium tires onto the soft tires for Tanner McCullough, the number 13 driver out of Canada, having a good run up there in the 12th position, up 10 spots, like you said, from where he started earlier in the race today. Well, it's 8 spots at the moment. It's still not a bad result at all, considering he started just at the tail end of the top 20.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we look back up at the front, our leader, Victor Prato, who's pretty much been doing a great job at the moment, apart from that little hiccup before when he just about hit the barrier, but managed to keep it out. But yeah, apart from that, Victor's just pretty much put in a commanding drive.
And Victor Pareto has certainly put out a very dominant win. We were looking to have some very good competition out in front until that big incident at lap number 1 that saw multiple cars taken out of the race early, particularly the ones that started up in the top 5. Thomas Wick has also come down to pit road. He was one of those drivers that has stretched his stint as long as possible, so he's just now making his stop. He is going to be dropped way outside of the top 10, actually, as a matter of fact. So we're going to continue to watch these 4 cars try to get close enough that they can start duking it out. We're 10 to go.
Yep, as it looks like Thomas Wilk has made his pit stop as well, and that's allowed Tanner McCullough to retake that position. But yeah, apart from this battle up closer to the front, it's the field's pretty much spread out. But I've still enjoyed this race, so because there's been a mixture of names up at the front, fighting for the final step on the podium.
Oh, Steve Gaiori goes off the track just in front of these drivers. I was just about to mention how they're going to have to contend with some lap traffic. Well, not anymore, as Gaiori takes care of that problem himself. Locked up the brakes big time on the entry.
Yeah, that's the second time he's done that as well. So it's yeah, again, just carrying by the looks of it, just carrying too much corner speed.
Same corner as it was the last time I believe he went off like this as well. Watch the major lockup here, trying to take it way too tight on the entry. That is not the line, my friend. I mean, you got to kind of arc it in. The entry point, as our producer so kindly pointed out, is at the opposite side of the track. He was trying to turn in, well, from a point where he was trying to turn in from the apex, it looked like.
Yeah, so I don't. Yeah, that's a bit of. Yeah, twice he's done that, and that's not, like you say, that's not the line you like. That's not the line that you take into that corner. So I don't know if he's just. I don't know if he's struggling with technical issues or not, or if he's just if it's his first time with this car. But yeah, that's two rookie errors, if you like.
This has certainly been one of those interesting races. So that's kind of allowed Soto to close in a little bit more to Hayata Asaga, because I think Asaga got a little bit startled by that big off in front of him. I can't say I blame him. I mean, it startled me too. I mean, I was just about to mention how they might have to contend with some more lap traffic, and then Dallara decided to do a nice thing and, well, take the lap car out of the picture. Of course, there were probably better ways of doing it than that, but I mean, whatever floats your boat, I suppose.
Yeah, still looking at this battle for third place as well between Asaga and Soto. And Asaga is amazingly still managing to hold on to this final podium position at the moment, and he's managing just to hold a big enough gap to stop Soto getting a run on him. But I think Soto might be just hanging back, just planning what he's going to do, and maybe saving his tyres for the closing stages and then start pushing.
This could also end up being one of those situations where they just cannot get close enough to properly battle by the time we get to the end of the race. I mean, sure, they could be going for the tire conservation strategy, but what if they're already trying to push all out, trying to get the most that they can out of the car to try to reel in these positions? I mean, you got to think in mind that Asaga's probably driving as hard as he can to try to keep these drivers behind him. I mean, realistically, Hayata Asaga is trying to put on the drive like Anthony Cat did earlier before his untimely demise in this race, trying to keep these cars behind him. You got to remember as well that these three drivers he's got behind him are all on soft tires. He's on the mediums. Gonna take a look back here at Javier Soto, who ran a bit wide again off of turn one.
Yeah, so it looks like he's just trying to carry as much corner exit speed as possible, trying to carry that momentum down the home straight. And watching the replay now into turn one, and yeah, just run slightly wide, but no big deal.
Luckily, a couple of hurt tires is always better than a hurt front wing, because the front wing is going to matter so much on these cars. But we saw that already earlier today with that driver that crashed into the pit wall on pit entry. I mean, heck, that pit entry incident, that's not even the first time we've seen that all season. I know you weren't here for Silverstone, Ryan, but we had a situation that happened much like we had happened a couple of years ago at Silverstone in the Formula One World Championship, where Roman Grosjean had a mighty unfortunate incident by smashing into the pit wall on the exit. Well, carbon copy of that one. We might have a big run here, though, with Rutger Hegman here trying to run down Javier Soto. Asaga suddenly pulled a massive gap as Soto has got it back a couple corners, and that's backed him up right into the number 23.
I'm wondering if Soto's starting to struggle with his tyres now. Maybe his tyres are starting to fall off the cliff, and he's having to look behind him now, because Hegman is absolutely just putting the pressure on. But behind Hegman, you've got Ragusa as well putting on the pressure. So these three guys scrapping away is allowing Asaga to just pull away and build up a little bit of a cushion, if you like.
Giuseppe Ragusa got very close as well into the braking zone at turn number one. So Ragusa is also extremely close down to these drivers. We're now just 6.5 laps away from this race being concluded. So that just goes to show just how long this race has already gone on for. It really does fly at a time when you're trying to watch these intricate battles and trying to see who's gaining the most in what areas. Trying to see who can overall get the most out of the cars. I mean, this has certainly been very entertaining to watch these gaps in times kind of switch back and forth as the race has gone on.
Yep, and I'm still keeping an eye on Asaga as well, and I think Asaga's maybe just decided as well that now is the time to push and try and pull away, while these guys behind me just scrap away. Because at the moment, I think he might have, out of this pack, he might have just made the correct tyre choice in this case, and he's just the medium tyres is just allowing him to push without having to worry about the tyres falling off.
Well, because the performance advantage is very, very big on the soft tire compounds throughout the early stages of the runs. But the medium tires will always prevail over a longer stint, and I think that is where Asaga is able to pull this extra speed from, is from now that the fact we are later in the stints, and the fact that he's able to just barely eke out a tiny bit more performance when they're on worn tires, because the softs, they do wear out a lot quicker being a softer compound, and that's meaning that Asaga's now started to pull away, leaving the other three in the dust behind him.
Yep, and Asaga's coming up to a back marker now, and this could play a vital factor in this battle. And what will the back marker do? Is he going to pull out the way? Yes, he is. Actually, he's not going to pull out the way, I'm sorry.
Sander Dignam is the driver that's just in front of these machines right now. He's running in the 11th position right now. So once again, more laps traffic that Hayata Asaga is going to have to contend with if he wants to try to maintain this gap over Javier Soto. If Asaga can hold this gap here, he is definitely going to be able to eke out the position and secure the final podium position. The real worry is going to be for Javier Soto here, and what is he going to do when he also catches Sander Dignam? Because unlike Asaga, he does not have a very big gap to work with before he gets to the cars behind him.
Yeah, the back marker pulls out the way before the entry of the chicane, but...
He takes out Hegman! He's just taking out Rutger Hegman there!
What on earth happened there? That was just pathetic.
I'm finding a very hard time on who to blame for that one. Sander Dignam was just trying to let these guys through, and it looked like Hegman just cut across his nose.
What the... I'm sorry, but what was that? I'm sorry, but that's down to the lap car there. That's Hegman just went by minding his own business, and the back marker just pulls out without checking his mirrors.
That's a yikes there. I mean, take a look at that from the air. I think that kind of tells the story. So all of a sudden, Rutger Hegman not going to be going for a top 5 today. He is going to be dropped all the way back to 7th, and he is now well down the order. 6 seconds up to Danilo Sanfilippo. No way he's going to be able to recover from that one in the span of less than 5 laps. I mean, wow.
That incident sort of reminded me of Jos Verstappen and running into the back of Juan Pablo Montoya at Brazil in 2001. That was just absolutely disgraceful.
Oh dear. Yet another battle ending not the way we quite wanted to. There seems to be a trend here at the Nurburgring. Certainly not the trend that we were hoping to kick off 2021 with. Well, this has left Hayata Asaga and Javier Soto really close together, just half a second apart between the two of them, and battling for the final podium position with 4 laps remaining.
Yep, so it looks like this battle for the final step on the podium position.
Oh, here we go. They blocked the inside for Asaga. Javier Soto trying to come back on him here for turn 1. Soto's going to try to go for around the outside, side by side at the turn number 1. We'll see Soto put way back. Big bobble there as he stamps down on the power. Not able to get the move done, but Javier Soto, he's definitely won that spot. He wants it now.
Yeah, Saga's not letting it go that easy by the looks of it, and Soto, I think he's not going to give up. He wants that podium position badly, and I think if he gets a run, he gets close enough and he gets a run on the Asaga, I think you'll see him trying to make a move.
Javier Soto is definitely trying to do everything he can to try to secure that final podium position, but he's just lost quite a bit of time here as a result of that failed move around the outside of the turn number 1. This might get very hairy here. I don't think Soto's going to have the time he needs to really make this work. I think he's going to have something happen to Hayata Asaga before he's able to really close in the gap here. So we're coming up now with just 3 laps remaining.
Yep, and I think at the moment Asaga's just doing enough to hold this position, and I think Soto, his tyres are definitely starting to just fall away ever so slightly, and he's just starting to lose grip, and Asaga's just doing enough to maintain that gap now, but Soto is going to be under attack, I think, in a few moments from Ragusa.
Giuseppe Ragusa, a driver that has had a very up and down day so far, but overall does seem to be looking up as he is up 8 spots from where he started today. He's going to try to make it 9. Sends it on the brakes into turn 1, but not close enough to make a magnificent dive on at the inside either. He still has 3 laps, though, to get himself close. It's not a lot of time, but it might just be enough.
It's possible. I think Asaga's just pulling away slightly now, and Ragusa is getting closer and closer, so yep, I think Soto being distracted will allow Saga an even better opportunity to just pull away, build up that gap, and yeah, hopefully hold on to that podium position.
This might get very, very tight here. Ragusa's definitely closed in a lot. He was only a tenth of a second faster than Soto on the last lap by, but he's closed in by so much now over the past half a lap or so. He's now just half a second off of his opponent just up the road here. So this could end up being a battle for the 4th position here by the time this is all said and done. Asaga's once again put out a massive gap. We're coming to 2 to go.
Yep, and this battle is still close together, and as they come through the chicane now, and Ragusa is getting closer and closer now. And yeah, I think his best opportunity is if he gets a great run in the exit of the final corner, and yeah, he gets a great exit, but again, Soto has just pulled away slightly.
Only a third of a second separates them. This is going to be right down to the wire. Ragusa's going for it down the inside of the turn 1. He makes it work. Soda's trying to get the cutback now in the run up to turn 2. He is going to get the cutback. Now it's to fight the outside line, though. Ragusa's going to try to fend him off. He still has to hold the inside into turn number 3. Can Soto try to get another cutback into turn 3? No, he cannot. Lock in 4th place for Giuseppe Ragusa.
Yeah, that was a great move. That was a bit of a gutsy move, but he managed to pull it off. And Soto, I don't think he expected it. I think he just jumped out the way at the last second as we're just about to look at the replay now. Is yeah, heading down the home straight now, and Ragusa just threw it in there.
Massive dive bomb there for Giuseppe Ragusa. Slams it up the inside as we take the white flag now. Almost a bit of a lock up there as well. Soto did such a good job to try to fight back around the outside, but just was not able to get that done. And I don't think Silva will be able to get him back by the time we get back around to the checker flag here.
Yep, we're on to the final lap as well now, and looking at the leader, Victor Preto, who's pretty much just done a fantastic job. Yeah, he made that mistake, but he managed to bounce back from that and retain the lead, and it's pretty much just been a commanding drive from him.
Apart from that major lockup just after the pit stop was completed, he has done an absolutely phenomenal job at keeping that car up in a very commanding position. Ragusa is still trying to hang on against Javier Soto, who's just now sitting in the 5th position, but I don't think Soto's going to be close enough. The gap is about a second now, so Soto will have lost the main portion of the draft. Meanwhile, though, Victor Preto is just coming up to the final set of corners now. It has been an absolutely commanding drive for that number 3 machine. He has led every single lap of the race. Only one mistake, but he had such a large gap that it was not going to be enough to topple the king. Log another one away for Victor Preto. He's off for the final corner, and he is going to take victory here at the Nurburgring.
Yep, in the second place at the moment, Marco Sanfilippo is just coming down to the chicane now, and yeah, pretty much all by himself, and yeah, coming up to the final corner now, and he'll take second place.
Marco Sanfilippo picks up the 2nd position. He's going to get this one secured. The battle for 3rd, though, is still undecided as Hayata Asaga is now having to worry about Giuseppe Ragusa just behind him. This gap is just 9/10 of a second. Unless Asaga really botches the final chicane, I think it is going to be in his hands, and there will be nothing Giuseppe Ragusa can do about it. Asaga makes it through the final chicane clean. Here comes Ragusa, though. Could he try a big dive bomb here to the final corner? Not going to be close enough. Hayata Asaga comes off of the final corner and just barely hangs on to win against Giuseppe Ragusa in the battle for 3rd.
Yeah, it was so close in the final lap there, and Ragusa just missed out, and Javier Soto finishes in 5th with Daniele Sanfilippo in 6th, and that race just, wow.
Oh my goodness, that was interesting, and that was certainly one heck of an entertaining race, and I wonder if Hayata Asaga honestly might have had a bit of fuel issues. I mean, we know that sometimes you cut it a bit tight on fuel, but he really slowed down a lot there in the final portion of the race there. So, well, whatever the case is, he still managed to secure a podium position. He lines up beside Giuseppe Ragusa, and now with all the drivers across the line, let's take a look at the official post-race results. Victor Preto takes a very commanding victory, another commanding victory, I should say. Marco Sanfilippo for 25 seconds back in the 2nd position. Hayata Asaga almost a minute back in the third position, just barely hanging on. 3/10 back is Giuseppe Ragusa in fourth. Javier Soto rounds out the top 5. Danilo Sanfilippo in the 6th position. Rutger Hegman, after being taken out by a lapped car, finishes it off in 7th. Benoit Dumas in 8th, the last car on the lead lap. Then comes Alex Saunders and Tanner McCullough to round out the top 10. Thomas Wick is in 11th position. Pablo Suarez is in 12th. Steve Gaiori is in 13th. Vincent Van Geffen in the 14th position, 2 laps down. 15th place is Sander Dignam. Martinez Foreigner is the last of the drivers to finish the race in the 16th position. Drivers that failed to finish the race from 17th on back to 26th are Xavi Ross, Anthony Catt, Dennis Scholing, Julian Kleinbusink, Jacob Swiderski, Thomas Bartosik, Matteo Calistani, Martin Van Luzenoord, Ben Fuller, and Manuel Domingo. Domingo being taken out of the race before it even began. What an absolutely thrilling race here, Ryan, to start off the new year of 2021.
Oh, that was a fantastic race, and yeah, like you said, a great way to kick off 2021. And the first lap melee in turn 1 just produced a bit of a shock, but also on the other hand a good shock, if you like.
Mild technical difficulties there when it comes to the cameras. Do apologize in advance for that one. Next race is going to be Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. Now that is going to be... I'm actually very curious about this one, because I know Barcelona does not have the best of reputations when it comes to open wheel racing. But I mean, the main goal of the Dallara IR1 was to try to eliminate the dirty air effect that was kicked up by the Williams FW31, the McLaren FW430. So far, it has done just that. So Barcelona could actually be a very, very entertaining race. So I'm very curious to see how that race is going to end up going.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that race. And Barcelona, it's some people don't seem to like Barcelona. It's one of those tracks, either you like it, you love it, or hate it sort of tracks. And I think next week, I think it should be another great race, especially as I think it's the Grand-Prix layout of Barcelona we're using as well. So yeah, I think it's the one with that I like to call Mickey Mouse chicane.
Phillip Island is going to be the next race, round number 5. Then comes a new circuit to the service, Long Beach. That is going to be a very entertaining race at 63 laps. Goodness gracious me. We got quite the schedule coming up ahead of us, too. You got Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta. Monza is going to be a very entertaining race. Circuit de Spa-de-Francorchamps will no doubt hold some treats as well. Road America is no doubt going to be a barnstormer. And what better way to end off a season than at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, otherwise known as Interlagos, on March the 5th. A lot of very, very entertaining dates coming up for us. Started it off at Barcelona next week.
Yeah, it should be a good race, and the Long Beach race as well is the one I'm looking forward to. It's one of my favourite tracks, Long Beach, and since the update, I've done God knows how many laps, but it's just one of those tracks that I love to race at or call the action on, and that should be a good one.
We don't have to see street circuits on a schedule like this. I mean, usually the only street circuit that we ever see would be Detroit Belle Isle, which is kind of like Barcelona. It doesn't have the best of reputations when it comes to providing thrilling racing on the open wheel scene. Long Beach, though, I think that is really one of the first purebred street circuits that we've ever seen on the surface. And it's just so fresh and it's so new, and it can provide so many good moments that I can't help but think that Long Beach is going to be an absolutely fantastic race as well. That's the one that I'm really looking forward to as well. That is coming up in the second week of January, third week of January, excuse me. So this, again, we've got a lot of very entertaining days coming up for us, and I honestly can't wait to see how the rest of the season is going to play out with us here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I really, like I said earlier before the broadcast, I really enjoy this car, and it's good to see something different. It's not like a real life car. It's the iRacers took their own ideas, if you like, and just done their own thing, and I think it gets a thumbs up from me.
Well, it looks like that might just be then all the time that we've got for one day. Yet another presentation of Friday Night Primetime coming to a very entertaining close. The race, of course, was a very fiery start. Had a very kind of a lackluster middle section, but it all picked up towards the end and made it all worth it. I've been Nolan Rambo, bringing you coverage of this race from start to finish. Ryan Walker helping me today in the commentary box, with Connor and Maddock providing all the views downstairs in the producer's chair. Special thanks to Itzvan below at trackcams22.com for providing us with the TV cameras you saw over the course of today's race. And thank you one and all for joining us here on Friday Night Prime Time for one of the first races of the new year. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's presentation of the Dallara Formula IR Series. We will see you all next week.